Welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going to dive deep into the life of someone I think we all know and love, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu.
But we're going to go way beyond just, the typical, he played Neo or he was John Wick. We're really going to get into the full story here.
Yeah, there's so much more to him.
Yeah, we've got a great 20-minute bio here that we've been looking at. It's amazing. One of the things I learned is he was born in Beirut.
Wow, I did not know that.
I know. How many people do you know that are born in Beirut and then go on to star in, The Matrix?
It's like his life was preparing him for those roles,
Right. All of the different experiences that he had, and it's crazy. And so we're going to start at the beginning and kind of trace that journey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Beirut, Lebanon, not exactly Hollywood.
No, not your typical origin story.
Not at all. So his family background is super interesting, too. It's a mix of Hawaiian, Chinese, English, and Irish.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. All on his father's side, and then his mother is English.
Yeah.
So it's just this, kind of a mix of cultures. And it makes you wonder, how that kind of shaped his perspective growing up.
Yeah, absolutely. And his childhood was anything but typical, Parents divorcing when he was only 3, then he lived in Sydney, New York, and finally ended up in Toronto.
Yeah, a lot of moving around, new places. That has to have some impact, right?
Absolutely. It's almost like his early life was mirroring the journeys of some of his characters, right? All these challenges, new environments, and through it all, finding his own way.
And then on top of all of that, he's also diagnosed with dyslexia. So I'm sure school was a whole other set of challenges.
Yeah. And he found outlets though, right? He was really into sports.
Yeah, he was a hockey goalie.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? They called him the Wall.
Oh, that's awesome. So already we see his determination, and of course acting too. But like you said, acting really became his main stage.
Yeah, so he started out in Canada, doing theater, TV, even a CBC series called Hangin' In.
Yeah, I think those early experiences are so important,
For sure.
Yeah.
That's where you kind of, figure out who you are as an actor, right?
Yeah, you experiment, learn to work with other people, build that foundation.
Yeah. And then in 1986, he gets his first movie role, Young Blood.
Oh, wow. Alongside Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze.
I know. Talk about starting at the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, soon after he moves to LA and he just starts landing all these roles.
And he's not afraid to take risks either. That same year he does River's Edge.
Yeah, that was a really intense drama, way different from Young Blood.
Hey, he's showing everyone what he can do.
So talented. And then just when you think you've got him figured out, boom, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, man. Total classic.
Totally. It was a huge risk.
How so?
Well, it could have easily pigeonholed him,
Oh, yeah, right. As the goofy comedic guy.
Exactly. But it didn't.
And it was a great movie, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But then I think Speed is really where he becomes the action hero.
Oh, yeah, Speed. Huge hit. Over $350 million worldwide.
Yeah, crazy. You'd think he'd be sequel, right?
You would think. But you know what? He actually chose to do Hamlet on stage in Canada. It's what? Why?
I think it says a lot about him.
Yeah.
It's he's saying, I'm not just about the big bucks. I'm an artist. He's choosing growth over just easy fame.
Yeah, that's a great point. He was definitely making a statement.
Yeah, for sure.
It's who does that? And turns down Speed 2 for Shakespeare.
Keanu does.
Keanu does. And then there's The Matrix. We have to talk about The Matrix.
It's not just a movie. It's a cultural phenomenon.
Totally. Those groundbreaking special effects, the philosophy, Neo, come on.
It really captured the feeling of the time,
Oh, yeah.
All those worries about technology, control, what's real. It really connected with people. Oh, yeah, for sure. And those bullet time sequences, I remember seeing that in the theater and being whoa, how do they do that?
Right. The visual effects were just incredible for the time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about the spectacle. They really used them to tell the story.
Yeah, blurring the lines between reality and illusion. And then those philosophical themes, right? Free will, destiny, the nature of reality. It was deep.
And Keanu, as Neo, was perfect. He brought this quiet intensity and vulnerability to the role, and it just made it all work.
He was so believable as this, kind of ordinary guy who's thrust into this extraordinary situation. And then he becomes this symbol of hope, right? The chosen one.
It's hard to imagine anyone else playing that role. He really made it his own.
Totally. And it was a huge risk for him too, the whole concept was so out there, it could have been a total flop. but he believed in it.
And that belief really shows on screen. He's fully committed to the role, and I think that helped make the whole movie work so well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And look, it paid off big time. The Matrix made him a superstar and, solidified his place in movie history.
Absolutely. And the fact that he came back for The Matrix Resurrections in 2021, that says a lot, This franchise, it means something to him.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of iconic franchises, we got to talk about John Wick.
Oh, yeah, John Wick. Total career resurgence. Like, who would have thought this retired hitman would become, like, this cultural icon?
It's amazing, right? And the premise is so simple. Revenge for his dog.
Right. But the way they did it, the action, the world building, the style, it's just incredible.
And Keanu, even in his 50s, he's doing so many of his own stunts.
It's crazy. The dedication he has to his craft is just amazing. Like, he could easily let stunt doubles do all that stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He's pushing himself physically, and it shows on screen.
It makes those action scenes so much more impactful, You can feel the weight of every punch, every move.
Yeah, he's not just going through the motions. It's real.
And I think that's one of the reasons John Wick is so successful. He's found this new way to be an action hero, and it's just so refreshing.
Totally. And it proves that he's not afraid to try new things, to reinvent himself.
Right. And that brings us to, the other side of his career, the roles that you might not expect from Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah. He's done it all. Action, drama, comedy, even, gothic horror. He worked with Francis Ford Coppola in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
That's a bucket list moment right there. And he was great in it, too. He brought this kind of, romantic brooding quality to Dracula that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's so different from what you'd expect. And then there's Point Break, another classic action movie, but this one's got, a cult following.
Oh, yeah, Point Break. Everyone loves that movie, and it shows how much he loves action. He's drawn to these adrenaline-fueled roles.
Yeah, and he's good at them. And then there's, The Devil's Advocate. Acting alongside Al Pacino, come on.
Right, and he holds his own against Pacino, too. It's an intense movie, and he really brings it. Lots of moral ambiguity, too, which is interesting.
And we can't forget A Scanner Darkly.
Yeah.
It's visually stunning and, really trippy.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one, based on a Philip K. Dick novel. Yeah. Super creative, really experimental.
Shows that he's not afraid to take risks, Try different things. And then to lighten things up, there's Duke Kaboom in Toy Story 4.
Duke Kaboom, so good. He's hilarious in that movie. It's like he can do it all, Drama, action, comedy, animation, he nails it every time.
It's amazing. And I think it all goes back to this idea of him being a really curious person, He wants to explore different things, different sides of himself.
Yeah, it's more than just a career. It's like a journey of self-discovery,
And that curiosity, it goes beyond acting, too, Look at his personal life.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And, you can't talk about Keanu without acknowledging the tragedies he's experienced. Losing his partner, Jennifer Syme, and their daughter, that's just heartbreaking.
Absolutely. And it's something he's very private about, But you can't deny the impact that must have had on him. And yet, despite all that, he's known for being incredibly humble and generous.
It's true. There are so many stories about him, riding the subway, giving up his seat to someone, just being genuinely kind to fans. It's like fame hasn't changed him at all.
It's almost like he goes out of his way to be a good person,
Yeah, he doesn't have to do any of that, but he does. And it's not just small gestures either. He's given millions to charities like PETA, Stand Up to Cancer, Sick Kids Foundation.
And that story about him sharing his Matrix money with the crew, who does that?
It's legendary. It shows you what kind of person he is. You know, he's not in it for the fame or the money. He genuinely cares about other people.
He's just a good dude. And all these different sides of him, they come out in his passions, too. His love for motorcycles.
Oh, yeah. He's not just a casual rider. He co-founded Arch Motorcycle Company. They design and build these custom high-end bikes. They're beautiful.
I know. It's more than just a hobby. It's a true passion project.
You can see that same dedication, the attention to detail that he brings to his acting. He brings it to motorcycles, too.
It's amazing. And he's also a musician. Played bass in a band called Dog Star.
Seriously? Wow. I did not know that.
It just shows you there's so much more to him than meets the eye. Always exploring, always pushing himself creatively.
And he's a serious martial artist, too. Jiu-jitsu, judo, Krav Maga. He's trained in all of it. And it's not just for the movies.
Yeah, it's a discipline. And you can see that in his action roles,
Yeah.
The way he moves, it's not just choreography, it's real skill.
Yeah, it brings this authenticity to his performances. And it's like all these different parts of him, the acting, the motorcycles, the music, the martial arts, it all comes together to make this unique and interesting person.
Yeah, it's not like he's compartmentalizing these things. It all flows together, It's all Keanu.
It's kind of like that's what makes him so relatable. He's not trying to be anyone he's not.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many people love him, Like, it's not just movie fans, it's everyone.
He's almost like the symbol of, humility and just being a good person in a world that's,
Yeah, not always known for that.
Exactly. But he shows us, like, you can be this huge star and still be grounded.
Ride the subway, be nice to everyone, just do your thing without letting it all go to your head.
It's a good lesson, especially these days.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in all the hype. But Keanu reminds us, like, what really matters.
It's about the work, the passions, treating people right,
Exactly. It's not about the fame or the money. It's about being a good person and making a difference.
And that's something that will last, That's his legacy.
Well said. Well, wow, what a journey. We've gone from Beirut to Hollywood and back again.
We've seen him as a hockey player, a Shakespearean actor, a sci-fi icon, a heartbroken lover, a philanthropist.
Yeah, we really got to see all these different sides of Keanu Reeves, the triumphs, the struggles, the quiet generosity.
And through it all, he's remained this genuine, kind, dedicated person.
Yeah, he's definitely one of a kind. So as we wrap things up here, I got to ask, what about Keanu inspires you?
Yeah, what have you learned from his story?
Let us know. And make sure to check out the show notes for more info, links, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we've got some great resources for you to dig deeper.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Keanu Reeves. Until next time.